Alright guys, so here we are once again with another episode of F1 2011 Career Mode. This is part number 15, and it's been 3 to 4 weeks since the last episode I made. So, since 3 to 4 weeks since the last episode came out. But the last time I actually recorded F1 2011, it was February, and it's now almost May. So, as you can imagine, it's been a very long time between drinks here, so I may be very rusty. The next round we have is India. So, what I think I might do in this episode is I might do India and Abu Dhabi in this one episode, providing there isn't too much action. If there is a lot of action, then there will only be India today. But, yeah, in just a few episodes' time, this series will be over. So if you haven't caught up with this series and you don't know what's going on too much, I'll have a look at the standings. We are in second place at the moment. Mark Webber leads the 2011 drivers' standings by 20 points over us. So a race win in this episode would go a long way to getting us in the battle with Mark Webber for this driver's title. So I'm very eager to see how we go. India is normally a good track for me, so I'm actually very keen to get back to this track and see how we go. So without further ado, let's start this episode. It's time for the Indian Grand Prix. So here we are for qualifying for the Indian Grand Prix. We almost get blocked by an Indian there. And going into the hairpin for the first time. I did do a lap or two in practice, and I was surprised at how easy I was able to get used to the handling model once again. And here we are on this absolutely huge back straight. Braking for this next right-hander. No, it wasn't an Indian that blocked us on the exit of turn 1. Here he is. Goodbye, Karthikeyan. We're going to stay on board for this lap as we try and negotiate this middle sector. I was finding it a little difficult to place the car accurately where I wanted it to through this middle sector. Like the feeling of the car through these high-speed corners was really weird. And now Kobayashi, what are you doing, fella? On the exit, open the DRS. This is 2011, remember, so we can open the DRS absolutely everywhere. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but coming up to this final corner here, the braking zones on 2011 are so short, you can just throw the car into some corners. Makes it very enjoyable. We come up to the line, and we set a 125.5. Not too bad. We are in front of our championship rival, Mark Webber.
There's 5 minutes remaining in the session.
We've been knocked down to P11 as we've just sat in the garage for the last 10 minutes, and now we're going to go for one last blast and try and get pole position. Narain, oh my goodness me. The back markers. Come on. This has been a very good lap, apart from the first corner where Narain Karthikeyan blocked us, and then the final corner where we've absolutely run so wide. Coming up to the line, it is pole position by 3 thousandths of a second over Lewis Hamilton. We really needed that one.
That's pole position. That's put us in with a great chance of winning the race tomorrow. Good job.
Oh my goodness me. That is so close. At the top of the timings there. 3 thousandths of a second over Lewis Hamilton. Jenson Button rounding out a McLaren 2-3 and setting themselves up well for the race. Mark Webber down in P5, and Vettel, very, very odd to see him down in P7 when India is literally one of his strongest tracks. Vettel is so dominant around here, and for him to be that far down the order is very scary for him and the Red Bull. So we're in prime position for the race. I really want to go ahead, win this race, have a nice and simple one, regroup and come back for the next race in Abu Dhabi and just see where we end up. This is looking very good for us so far, but this is F1 2011, this is Codemasters, anything is possible. Let's go to the race. Here we are on F1 2011. It's been a long time since we've been back. A lot is at stake for this race. Let's try and get off to a nice and clean start. Away we go for the Indian Grand Prix. Let's shift it up nice and conservative into turn 1. We have everything to lose in this race. Looks like We haven't lost anything. We hold the lead as we go through turn 2 now. Hamilton and Button, the two McLarens, still second and third. I need those guys to do a job for me. I need them to finish in front of Mark Webber and take those points off of him. Look at them. Look at them going so defensive there. It's a massive train all the way back there. I'm sure there are so many battles that are going to be happening at the early part of this race. It's all for sheep stations back there. And I'm going to try and pull away as much as I can and make the most of those guys battling. End of lap 1. What is the gap? It looks like it's 3 seconds. 2.1. So a nice handy lead to start off this race. And now if the AI have anything to answer back to me, it's got to happen now. Now that they've got some clean air, especially Lewis Hamilton being in P2. We'll have a quick check of the fuel. We have +1 lap. I'm going to burn a little bit of that now as we head into the first round of pit stops. Bang! 24/7. Lewis, what have you got? Come get me.
Pit in this lap. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
Are they? Alright, so into the pits now at the end of lap 5. We've run off the track a little bit. There's yellow flags through the middle sector there. So I'm not too sure what's happened there. We've managed to stay out an extra lap longer than what most of the AI are doing, apart from Jensen, who is also coming in on this lap. So we're going on to a set of primes. And I've kind of set myself up well here for the back end of the race by giving myself fresher tyres. And I think we should rejoin in front of Lewis. The gap was 7-8 seconds beforehand. And now, I'm not too sure what the gap is. I'll keep you updated. The gap could be even bigger because Lewis came in a lap earlier than what was scheduled. So he could have encountered a little bit of traffic here and there. So it's very likely that he is a little even further down the road than what I was expecting. But DeResta hasn't made his pit stop yet. Neither has Barrichello. So if Lewis does catch up to those guys... nice corner. He's going to get held up by those guys too. Yeah, look at that, guys. Jensen has actually jumped Lewis, so staying out the extra lap has actually helped Jensen more than what it helped Hamilton. So Lewis probably made a wrong strategy call there. He's got older tyres and he's lost track position, so it's not looking good for him. But in terms of the battle between myself and Webber, he's still not on the radar really, so that's all I can really ask for at this stage. Just 5 laps to go now.
Button's struggling to keep up with your times. He's falling back by a second a lap. 1 second a lap.
Thanks, Jeff. Tyres are getting a little sketchy at this stage as we come to lap some of the back markers. This is Narayan Karthikeyan. We'll swoop around his outside and put him a lap down. Behind him there are further 2 cars who are a lap down as well, but here we are, final corner. The race is now over. We essentially dominated this one, and it's another win here for the Indian Grand Prix. What a return to this circuit. First place.
Brilliant. That's the double. Pole and the win.
So there we go. We have won the Indian Grand Prix over Jensen Button. 14 seconds was the difference. Lewis Hamilton screwing up monumentally with that strategy there, stopping a lap early and then getting held up by a lot of people on old tyres. That's what really killed Lewis in this race. He was about 7 seconds behind me or so before he made his pit stop there, so very interesting there. A lot of the guys towards the middle of the top 10 were just battling so much, and it just allowed me to skip away. I almost had an event-free race. I just got on with it, punched in a few fastest laps, and then I made the right call with the strategy as well, not getting held up by anyone. So, in effect, probably the perfect race. I'd probably say that right now. The perfect race here at the Indian Grand Prix. Mark Webber ends up in P6, so he only scores 8 points in this round, and that is going to do our championship standings a world of good. As we check now, we are second place still, but we are only 3 points behind Mark Webber with 2 rounds left to go in this series. Unbelievable scenes, Jeff. We have no contract offers, despite dragging the Williams, which scored absolutely no points in the 2011 season. We're second in the driver standings, and within a massive chance of winning the driver's title. We have no contract offers for the next season. Clearly, it's all down to the car. I mean, who was this from? Another... Where was this from? By Lotus. Lotus have offered me a contract. Didn't check my emails in time, sorry. I was busy partying in the Amber Lounge. We've broken the world record for our 5th race in a rookie season. So, yeah, okay. Very interesting where we stand in terms of a contractual standpoint, if that's a word. But, yeah, let's crack on to Abu Dhabi, shall we?